I start the broadcasting. Here you go. And this is my way to do this. The broadcast, we're going to read
The
it.
Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum.
Narrator,
Chapter
host,
20.
and
The
then
Dainty China Country.
audience.
While the woodman was making a ladder from wood which she found in the forest, Dorothy lay down and slept, for she was tired by the long walk.
The lion also curled himself up to sleep, and Toto lay beside him. The scarecrow watched the woodman while he worked and said to him, "Try to read the next page."
And over it, we shall know what's on the other side. After a time the ladder was finished. It looked clumsy.
The Tin Woodman was sure it was strong, and would answer their purpose.
Waked Dorothy. Who climbed up the ladder first, but he was so awkward that Dorothy had to follow close behind and keep him from falling off.
When he got his head over the top of the wall, a scarecrow said, "Oh my, go on," exclaimed Dorothy. Try to read it.
Came up and immediately began to bark, but Dorothy made him be still.
The lion climbed the ladder next, and the Tin Woodman came last, but both of them cried, "Oh my," as soon as they looked over the wall.
Around were many houses made entirely of china and painted in the brightest colors.
I paused this video clip. This is the first time to broadcast on my way. And then reading Sisyphus, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. And then the narrators read like this one page. I read another page, and the audience can read aloud and the other page. So and then the reading stories aloud is this broadcast. Here you go again.
These houses were quite
Biggest of them reaching only as high as Dorothy's waist.
First of all were the people who lived in this queer country. There
was milkmaids and shepherdesses, and with brightly colored bodices and golden spurs all over their gowns. The princess with the most gorgeous frocks of silver and golden puff and shepherd dressing.
with round red spots upon their cheeks and tall pointed caps, and strangest
And strangest of all, these people were made of china, even to their clothes, and was small. The tallest of them was no higher than Dorothy's knee.
they found the ladder so heavy that they could not pull it up. So the scarecrow fell off the wall, and the others jumped down upon him so that the hard floor would not hurt their feet. Of course they took
pains not to light on his head and get pins in the feet.
this strange place in order to get to the other side, said Dorothy, for it would be unwise for us to go any other way except due south.
They began walking through the country of China people, and the first thing they came to was China made milk Miss China cow.
The cow had broken her leg off, and that the pail was lying in several small pieces, while the poor milkmaid had a nick in her left elbow. "There!" cried the milkmaid angrily.
See what you have done. My cow has broken her leg. I must take her to the mender's shop and have it glued on again.
But the pretty milkmaid was much too vexed to make any answer. She picked up the leg sulkily and led her cow away, the poor animal limping on 3 legs.
As she left them, the milkmaid cast many reproachful glances over her shoulder at the clumsy strangers, holding a nicked elbow close to her side, and Dorothy was quite grieved at this mistake.
Later on, Dorothy met a beautifully dressed young princess, who stopped short as she saw the strangers and started to run away.
Dorothy wanted to see more of the princess, so she ran after her, but the China's girls cried out, don't chase me.
"Be mended?" asked the girl. "Oh, yes, but one is never so pretty after being mended, you know," replied the princess.
I suppose not, said Dorothy. Now there is Mr. Jerkers, one of our clowns, continued the China lady, who is always trying to stand up on his head.
Jolly Little Clown came walking toward them, and Dorothy could see that in spite of his pretty clothes of red and yellow and green, he was completely covered with cracks, running every which way and showing plainly
That he had been mended in many places, the clown put his hand in his pocket, and after puffing out his cheeks and nodding his head at them softly said,
said the princess. "Can't you see these are strangers and should be treated with respect?"
well, that's respect. I expect, declared the clown, and immediately stood up on his head. Don't mind, Mr. Jerkers, said the princess to Dorothy.
"Carry you back to Kansas and stand you on Aunt Em's mantle? I could carry you in my basket." "That would make me very unhappy," answered the China princess.
Your sister here in our country who lives contentedly and can talk and move around to a please.
Is all that is expected of us when we are on mantels and cabinets and drawing room tables, but our lives are much pleasanter here in our own country."
I would not make you unhappy for the world, exclaimed Dorothy, so I'll just say goodbye. Goodbye, replied the princess.
All the people scampered out of their way, fearing the strangers would break them, and after an hour or so the travelers reached the other side of the country and came to another.
Shadow Country came to another China walls. It was not so high at first, and however, and by standing up on the lion's back, they all managed to scramble out.
And jumped up. "Bad," said Dorothy. "But really I think we were lucky in not doing these little people more harm than breaking a cow's leg in a church. They are all so brittle."
Yeah, indeed, said the Scarecrow. And I think of course I'm made of straw and cannot be easily damaged. There are worse things in the world than being a scarecrow. Okay, so 88 minutes left, maybe 21, and then go for 21.
The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum.
This
Chapter 20.
this
The
is not.
Dainty China Country.
This one.
While the woodman was making a ladder from wood which she found in the
for
forest, Dorothy lay down and slept,
21.
for she was tired by the long walk.
This one, not 22. The 21. Here you go. Maybe. This one is exact. I'm gonna check Manicam. Alright. Seven minutes left.
The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. Chapter 21. The Lion becomes the King of Beasts. After climbing down from the China Wall, the travelers found themselves in a disagreeable country, full of bogs and marshes and covered with tall, rank grass. It was difficult
to walk with the falling into muddy holes. The grass was so thick and it hid them from right.
but the country seemed wilder than ever, and after a long and tiresome walk through the underbrush, they entered another forest, where the trees were bigger and older than any they had ever seen.
This forest is perfectly delightful, declared the Lion, looking around in with joy. And never have I seen a more beautiful place, listened Gloomy and said the Scarecrow.
Wild beasts could wish a pleasanter home. Perhaps there are wild beasts in the forest now, said Dorothy. I suppose
there are solitary lions, but I don't see any of them about. They walked through the forest until I became too dark to go any further.
before they had gone far they heard a low rumble, as of the growling of many wild animals.
Toto whimpered, but none of the others was frightened, and they kept along the well-trodden path until they came to an opening in the wood, in which were gathered hundreds of beasts of every variety.
Lion explained that the animals were holding a meeting, and he judged by their snarling and growling that they were in great trouble.
As he spoke, several of the beasts caught sight of him, and once the great assemblage hushed as if by magic, the biggest of the tigers came up to Ryan and bowed, saying,
"What is your trouble?" asked the lion quietly. "We are all threatened," answered the tiger, "by a fierce enemy which has lately come into this forest. It is
a most tremendous monster like its great spider, with a spot as big as its elephant and legs as long as a tree trunk."
of us is safe while this fierce creature is alive, and we had called a meeting to decide how to take care of ourselves when you came among us." The lion thought for a moment. Are there any
Are there any other lions in the forest? No, there were some, but the monster has eaten them all. Well,
that gladly, returned the tiger, and all the other beasts roared with a mighty roar. We will! Where is this great spider of yours now? Asked the lion.
yonder among the oak trees, said the tigers, pointing What is the purpose? Take care of these friends of mine, said the lion. Now I go at once to fight the monster.
Quite as long as the tiger had said, and its body covered with coarse black hair.
It had a great mouth with a lot of sharp teeth, a foot long, but head was jointed and purged, supported by a neck as slender as a wasp's waist.
The lion a hint of the best way to attack. Blow of his heavy paw, all armed with sharp claws, he knocked the spider's head from its body.
Jumped down, he would reach until the long leg stopped wiggling when he knew it was quite dead.
Bowed down to the lion as their king, and he promised to come back and rule over them as soon as Dorothy was safely on her way to Kansas.
The end? Okay, so almost done. This is my broadcast.
The Wonderful
Wizard of Oz leading this process. And this broadcast title is Speakers English. The goal is to improve learning using English by reading aloud. And then I tested the function of Africa TV and as a live cast. And I use ManyCam to broadcast, but I don't use the chatting and the screens, and that's problems. Maybe I'm a little bit getting better next times. Maybe I can do that with the two screens, using two screens. It might be possible to chat to that. At the end, I'll stop broadcasting.